This may come as quite the shocker to anyone familiar with my channel, or Lord of the Rings fans, or most reasonable people, but I absolutely love Rings of Power. Yes, I am proudly one of the 38%, and let me tell you why. This show is so authentically shit that it is near impossible for me to comprehend how something this bad was even created. I'm sure you've heard of the expression, "it's so bad it's good." Well, Rings of Power is the golden standard for that saying. Whether it's the costume design, the dialogue...
Or should we call it instead, Lord Father? The CGI, or the extremely contrived sequences of events, almost every single scene blows my mind in a new and unique way. And what makes it truly special is that you can tell that the showrunners intended on creating something good.
I could just see myself screaming at the screen, "No, don't listen," but we have
happens,
ideas.
We've done our job.
They intended on making something special, and in a way, they succeeded. Rings of Power is definitely special. So, since we're about a month away from the premiere of Season 2, I thought it'd be fun to talk about some scenes that made this show such a spectacular piece of shit.
Thanks to you.
But because of fears of copyright claims, I'm gonna keep this video contained to just a few scenes right now, but I plan on making some more videos in the coming weeks. Let's start off with something that happens right at the beginning of the show. There's been a lot of discourse surrounding the shining beacon of perfection that is Galadriel, but I surprisingly haven't heard anyone talk about this scene. The show starts off with Galadriel and her elf squad looking for Sauron, and so they climb to the top of this mountain, and her team is just falling the fuck apart, and they don't want to even be here anymore.
Perhaps we would be wise to camp here, and tomorrow begin the journey home.
But Galadriel doesn't give a fuck about their feelings.
Wait, no!
So anyways, they find the Sauron fort they've been looking for. They walk in, and one of the elves goes,
My hand is past feeling.
and Galadriel just goes,
No. This place is so evil, our torches give off no warmth.
Galadriel just flat out denies the possibility that this guy could have frostbite, or just be cold in general, I guess.
How long can living flesh endure where even sunlight fears to tread?
Like, maybe it's not the evil that's making this guy cold, Galadriel. Maybe it's the fact that you just walked through a blizzard on top of a fucking mountain at night. The beautiful thing about this is that this is not a one-off incident. Galadriel remains consistently intolerable throughout the entirety of the show. It's so fucking awesome. I'm such a big Galadriel fan. Oh man, I can't wait for Season 2. I really can't, guys.
I'm gonna be screaming "No!" so much this season.
Again, that's the goal.
Okay, well...
Next up is one of the dumbest mantras I've ever heard in my entire life.
The sea is always right!
The sea is always right!
The fuck does that even mean? Even if we assume that this statement is correct, and that the sea is always right, look at what the sea does in your own fucking show. The sea killed this guy's wife.
What happened to her?
She drowned. And the sea is always right.
The sea tries to kill your main character, Galadriel, on more than one occasion, which to be fair is probably a good call by the sea. But if you have the sea actively traumatizing and attacking your main characters, but the sea is also always right, then what are you trying to say? Speaking of the sea, I'm going to give the show a bit of credit here. This sea monster looks pretty cool. This is good CGI, and even though this monster has essentially zero impact on the plot, other than killing off a few extras, it is admittedly the best part of the show. We even get a better look at it in the new trailer, and it looks especially badass. I love a good sea monster, so props to the team who made this. They did a really great job. Really fucking awesome design. But on the same topic of CGI, I find it odd that they could do such a good job with the worm, but the worm looks like Sonic on crack, but also fails to be as scary as the original live-action Sonic.
I think they probably hired 2 different teams for these scenes, cause look at the difference. Last thing for this video, Galadriel and the Númenóreans are sailing across the ocean in questionably spacious boats. And so Isildur goes to feed his horse an apple. And the horse doesn't take a bite of the apple immediately, so Isildur just aggressively just shoves this apple upward and pretends like the horse took a bite. Fun fact, while filming season 2, a horse died of a heart attack on set. I'm assuming because it found out what it was going to be featured in.
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes?
Anyways, then Isildur walks up to the top deck, takes one more bite of this really nice apple, and just chucks it off the side of the boat. It's already offensive enough to waste that much of a perfectly good apple when you're not sailing across the sea. But you're on a boat filled with livestock and a limited food supply. And that's how you're going to treat this apple? This beautiful, great, awesome, big delicious apple? Are you kidding me? Fuck you, Isildur, you wasteful piece of garbage. And so yeah, those are just a few reasons why I absolutely adore this show. Once again, I can't wait for season 2, and I hopefully am going to put out more of these videos because I just have so much to talk about. I know there's been a lot of discussion already around this topic, but it's just so awesome. It's so fun. It's just so great. And, you know, I can't help myself. I really can't. I have to talk about this show. It's so fucking good. No! Anyways, I'm Medium Beetle. See you next time.
We are so excited to be returning to Middle-earth. I gotta ask, though.
Everyone's been talking about this new YouTuber, Medium Beetle.
What can you tell us about his role this season?
He's someone that you go to when things are not going well for advice.
How excited are you for his Rings of Power content?
I think he's probably got the most rough emotional season in terms of what he's got to go through.
He's got a tough road to hoe.
And how seriously should people take his criticisms of your show?
You got to listen very carefully to what he says and what he sings to figure out which way to go.
Okay.
And just how much does his channel mean to you?
Amazing, awesome. We're so lucky we found him.
All right. Well, I think fans are going to be really keeping their eye on that and his involvement as a popular figure amongst fans, I'll say.